Hi, freaks, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Movie Freaks. My name is Matt,
I'm-
and joining me tonight is Sue. We can never get this right. Joining me tonight is the lovely Sue. How are you, Sue?
I'm good. I'm fine. Stuck in lockdown, but what can you do?
Yeah, it's part of our lives these days, isn't it? I'm loving the look tonight with the large earrings and matching the red lipsticks, really popping out.
I try to make an effort.
Someone who hasn't made any effort whatsoever is Nathan. Hello, Nathan.
Hello. Glad you're enjoying my lack of effort.
No, you're looking lovely, Nathan. I'm loving that purple background, your signature.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we get into it?
Absolutely.
The end of the trilogy. So let me just go back to you guys. Okay, so we've managed to make our way through it. We were a bit apprehensive to continue on this journey, but here we are.
Completists as we are.
Completists, yes. So let's get into it. So the movie starts. We're back in 1994, and Dina's vision ends, and she realizes that the good family is. Oh no, sorry, I've skipped past. that's
the end.
I've gone to the middle of the film, the part 2.
I was gonna say, did it start in 19? I didn't think it, but okay.
No. Let me skip to the right page. So, after reuniting Seraphia's severed hand with the rest of her body, Dina sees a vision of the events of 1666 as seen through the eyes of Seraphia herself. She lives in Union, the original settlement before it was split between Sunnyvale and Shadyside, with her father George and brother Henry. Do we ever see Father George?
Yeah, wasn't he drunk, or is that someone else's dad?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we do see that weedy little father.
Yeah,
but was he the same dad that was in the first one?
Dad didn't pop up in the first one, which I thought was strange. Okay. They would always talk about the dad, but we never actually saw the dad. He was always absent.
Yeah, it's weird. So we're way back in 1666. Are we a fan of period dramas?
No. Like Sleepy Hollow. This isn't Sleepy Hollow.
No,
I hate period dramas. Yes, like I hate the American Wild West, any sort of westerns that I can't stand.
I love westerns actually, but not period films, and particularly not things set in like the Dark Ages, like Game of Thrones sort of era. I hate all of that sort of stuff.
See, I did like Game of Thrones. I'm a fan of Game of Thrones. I don't mind some English period dramas, but only very sparingly.
I'm not a big fan of them, but we give it a go.
That stuff set like around the war in the 50s and all that sort of stuff is fine. But yeah, when we're getting to like different centuries or like early 19th century, not so much.
Just can't relate.
Well, really, and the language is so flowery and it's all dark and dreary.
And look, I don't know much about American history, especially in that part of the country, but should they have Irish accents, or is that just movie making where they've just added that on just to make it sound ye olde?
I mean, they couldn't get any accent right anyway, so
they just went with the Irish.
Right? It's just a conglomerate of like old-timey language.
Yeah.
I think they did have Irish accents back then. I think it was mainly Irish settlers, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, my only reference is Sleepy Hollow, and that was more Dutch.
What about Back to the Future Part 3?
That was Wild West, though, wasn't it? Yeah, they did have the Irish. Yes, you're right. They did. Yeah.
That's my only reference.
Well, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. So moving right along. So Sarah and her friends Lizzie and Hannah meet a reclusive widow deep in the woods to collect powerful hallucinogenic berries for a feast one night, where Sarah discovers a black magic book. The trio then move on to a rave party in the woods, where Sarah and Hannah are harassed by Caleb, who rejected advances towards Hannah.
Mhm.
So boner alerts.
I know.
I know, that was really funny. I mean, you never really see that on TV or film, and it's always kind of irritated me when they're like, "I was so turned on," but you're like, "Were you?" Because I don't see any evidence of that.
I guess back in the old days like that, they didn't have tight little underpants to hold things down.
That's true.
It's
It was,
authentic.
they were quite loose and baggy clothes
I
as
liked how
well.
realistic that was.
How realistic.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of
That-
milked it.
Did you know that teens were getting high in the woods and having bonfire
I didn't mean that.
parties?
I meant just the erection.
Oh,
You
okay.
only enjoyed that bit.
Yeah. Apart from that, I was like, really? I mean, I don't know. I mean, they were teens. I guess they still did teen things, but
Getting high on berries and dancing.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
But I'm also not 100% no either.
It I don't know. It didn't seem realistic to me, but what do I know?
Well, again, I think they're making it for modern audiences, modern teen audiences, so they've got to try and make it relate and not sound or seem so old-fashioned fuddy-duddy. That's my take on it anyway.
Well, like I said, like it's you know, not relatable this era, so I think they've tried to make it relatable by bringing in these type of Smurfberry raves, like by the bonfires.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know. It's a little bit pandering, a little bit. Like either you're true to your story or you're not. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really care for when they like change the story or the era then, if that's what you want to do, but don't like bend the truth.
Yeah.
To get an audience. It sort of annoys me.
One thing I didn't really understand was why the actors from the other movies were popping up in this playing different characters when they're not meant to be like reincarnations or anything like that. I mean, I get that Dina, she sort of woke up as Sarah for some reason because she was in her body because she touched the bones. But I don't understand why she saw everyone else as people that she had either met before or people who were in the other movie who she didn't meet.
I thought they were just doing that sort of American Horror Story thing where they have a staple of actors, so they just want to use them. But you're right, they can't have that and at the same time expect you to understand that the Dina character actually is the same.
Yeah.
But these aren't. That is a bit of a cheat.
The rules weren't quite set there. And to me, it felt like the characters that we already had met were basically just in a play playing oldie-typey characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Although, I don't know, I did prefer them in this, like, a lot of them, I preferred them in this era.
Yeah.
I thought they were better and I accepted them a lot more.
I found that Dina, like, I thought that she was much better as Sarah than...
Much better.
Like,
and so was the druggy guy from the 90s, you know, the irritating guy that we were like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But then he was much more... And I really liked the Tommy guy.
Oh, yeah. The crazy guy.
I thought, wow, he's pretty good.
Is he a dog killer, though?
Well, yeah probably.
Okay, we'll get to that. But yeah, I definitely agree that I found that maybe it was the writing of this one was better, like in terms of characterization, but I found that I really hated that actress in the first movie, but I actually grew to like her. I was sort of rooting for her more than I was in this one than I was in the first one.
Or could it be that the
Agreed.
series is just warming on you, Matt? You're getting used to it.
Let's not go
Let's not get carried away now.
So Sarah and Hannah leave the party and find a quiet spot to get intimate. So this was quite.
I wrote sexy times in my notes. Actually pretty hot.
I wrote forbidden girl on girl moment.
It was. Yeah, they didn't really hold back, did they?
No, it was much better than. Yeah, I thought it was a much more believable moment than the two had shared previously.
Yeah, I found that their lesbian relationship, while I found it shouldn't be acceptable at all, like in 1666, but I found it was much more believable than it was in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
Because they seemed a lot more like similar sort of characters, whereas in the 94 one, they seemed like very different characters.
Yeah, that might be true. They seem like they would connect.
Yeah.
Whereas they didn't seem that in the 90s.
Yeah.
And how well were the woods lit? Like,
yeah, true. That moon was doing a hell of a job.
It was.
Well, it didn't have all the smog and everything we get these days.
Oh, right.
That would look back in the day.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Sure, Nathan.
Really made that one piece of the detail. Everything else can be as anachronistic as possible, but we've got to be specific about the moon in those times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next day, the town's food and water supply.
Hang on, we missed a bit. So Tommy interrupted them. So they went off and had their moment, but that's the trigger.
How do you mean the trigger?
Well, because Tommy interrupted them, and then so suddenly that's a really significant thing story-wise, I thought, that they'd been busted having their lesbian moment, and that comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So you thought that this was going to lead to them being lynched at that point?
I didn't know. Well, I knew it was going to come back at some point because obviously soon afterwards, when things start going wrong in the town, it's all connected. I saw them doing stuff.
Yeah. So the next day, as the town's food and water supply are destroyed, and Pastor Miller begins to act strangely, Sarah confides in her friend Solomon and wonders if her dalliance in the woods is to blame for the town's bad luck. So, yeah, this is where they bloody killed that lovely dog as well.
And the pig, which...
Oh my God, the pig scene! That was...
First scene.
That was pretty horrific. But I have to say, I was questioning whether the brother would vomit. Like, they're growing up on a farm. He would see animals killed all the time.
Especially in 1666.
Yeah, like that was their primary source of food. I can't see him going, oh God, she used an axe on her pig. Blah. Like, that just seemed a bit... Unless it was the babies that upset him. But
no, it seemed to be when she axed him to the head.
Yeah, and I was like, he wouldn't vomit over that. He's a farm kid. He wouldn't even think anything of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if she would do that because she would probably think that's our livelihood. That's money.
No, but it turned crazy eating his babies. But surely if they're going to kill it, wouldn't they kill it in a way that they can still,
Exactly. I don't think you would just blindly go in there and kill it when that's probably their only source of income, I think.
Yeah. That's a sign of today's throwaway society. They're a bit more thrifty back then.
Exactly.
True.
And yeah, then the dog scene. But the minute they introduce a dog, you're like, why do this to us? We're going to spend the whole film nervous about it, and then you're going to kill it and we'll hate you for it.
Yeah.
So why? When are filmmakers going to learn?
I know. Don't kill dogs.
Or
especially
cats.
A dog that looks like my dog.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, I know, exactly. But yeah, no dogs or cats. Like, no animals that we have at home and love is probably a good rule of thumb.
Cats are alright, but just not dogs.
I would turn it off if they kill a cat.
I was just getting a rise out of you. You know, Sue, I love cats.
I know. That's because you're smart. Only smart people love cats.
So Sarah and Solomon discover Pastor Miller has murdered a dozen children in the chapel, including Sarah's brother, Henry. Pastor Miller almost murders Sarah before being assassinated by Solomon. I thought it was interesting, this scene. First of all, they killed like two of the main characters from the previous film. Like,
very
shocking.
Yeah, very quickly and off camera as well for him.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a wasted opportunity. Like, it was great that they're killing off people like the Stranger Things girl and the brother, who were the main characters in the first two films. But yeah, they did it off camera. Why didn't they leave that as a bit of a shock?
Why bother bringing them back?
Yeah. The Stranger Things girl was hardly even in it at all. I'm wondering if part of her scenes were cut.
Maybe.
Sue was very happy with that.
No, I just think that her moment was the second film. So there was no reason to, sometimes there's too many characters and it's annoying, or you feel like I just need to concentrate on the story. So I actually quite liked that. And I like the whole unexpected, oh, they're already gone. Like, that was a good shock for me.
Yeah.
I guess especially because the brother survived the first movie. So we're kind of expecting him to survive the trilogy.
Yeah. And it makes the whole thing more realistic anyway. Like, you should feel like anyone could die.
But yeah, it was a bit of a sort of gruesome death to begin with, because all right, we didn't see what happened, but we saw the aftermath of it, like basically a pile of eyeballs, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe they can't show someone like scooping out kids' eyeballs, but they've shown quite a few other graphic things, so I don't know if that would be the case.
Again, maybe that's just because they don't seem to want to show any kids' deaths on screen.
True.
It's all off screen, like with this and the other movie we did.
But the two main ones we were talking about were older kids. Like, they didn't have problems with killing off kids of their age in the previous movies.
True.
So I thought that they could have, the eyeball scene was great, but they could have killed, done something more with those two.
She could have walked on him still doing it to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a missed opportunity.
Know who it is until she gets around and then it's one of them. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
I think that's a little bit of with all these three movies, it feels like, I know we see some bloody bits and some shocking bits every now and then, but overall it feels a little bit watered down. Like, it doesn't quite go as far as it could, or as real horror fans really think it should.
I agree in general, but I actually didn't mind it in that scene. I sometimes think a bit of restraint works better for me to imagine what happened.
I guess it was a little bit of shock value in those, like, oh, it's already all happened.
Yeah,
So
I didn't think, especially Sadie Sink, I actually didn't think she would be one of them. Because, like, the brother, he was a mainish character, but he's not a name actor, so to speak. But she was, within small circles. So I was surprised.
Yeah, she shocked me more than the brother, because I didn't think he was very good.
No, me neither.
In either movie.
No, me neither. And he just seemed really, of this time, he never seemed to fit into any of those eras for me.
No.
So I'm fine.
He was kind of like a superfluous character. In the first movie, he was probably good to give the exposition about the background.
Yeah, he was the guest.
But after that, he was kind of like Scooby-Doo, just like there for the ride. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, true.
So, that night, a town meeting is held at which the townspeople decide that witchcraft is the cause of the town's issues. Of course, it's got to be witchcraft.
Blame the witches!
And Caleb claims that Sarah and Hannah are the witches responsible. The two attempt to flee, but Hannah is captured, while Sarah escapes as the two declare that Hannah, as the town declares that Hannah will be executed at dawn. So did you see this coming? I guess you did.
Well, yes, to be honest, but I didn't mind the way it played out, even though, it was pretty obvious. Like, we know where the whole story's going the whole time.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting it quite as soon into the story as this, though.
Me neither, because I thought the whole 2 hours was basically in 1666.
And leading up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of running around, like the townsfolk, like the lynch mob, are like looking for you, and she's like just hiding behind
True.
Barrels,
the houses and stuff.
Escaping the town.
Seriously, get the fuck out of there! Like you're gonna get hung.
I thought the same thing.
It's like, yeah, that was a bit annoying, but yeah, I thought it was good.
That's funny. Yeah, you're right. She was always peering around things.
Yeah. And like you said, it's like a really bright moon as well, so surely they could see her.
Never see me. Well, there she is.
So Sarah infiltrates the chapel where Hannah is in prison, and the two confess their love. Aww.
Wow.
Sarah decides to reveal the widow's book in order to make a deal with the devil and save Hannah, but she discovers that the book has been stolen and the widow has been murdered. She flees Solomon's house to help and hides in his back room. While hiding, she discovers a tunnel beneath the house where she discovers a ritual and the widow's book. Scary.
Interesting. The widow character I found was interesting as well, because they sort of set her up as just this sort of odd lady living out from town with a book and spells and all that sort of stuff. So they basically set her up as if she's the witch. Everyone sees her as a witch type character, but as soon as the town says, "Oh, it's witches," they don't think to go after her. They think to go after
I agree. That is
not the
really
witch that we know.
Like that would be the obvious choice.
It's the town witch.
I agree. Yeah, why did no one even entertain that? Like no one even seemed to float that idea. What about widow? What's her face? Like
she's a bit witchy.
Yeah. No, it says lesbians.
Obvious witches.
Yes. Clearly the witch.
You stay in your little hovel with your many cats and old books and things. It's fine.
No, they probably did think it was her, and then they went in and saw that she was dead, and they're like, "Oh well."
Just left her on the floor.
She's a witch anyway.
But then you think they'd go, "Oh great, curse is done, so we should be right."
That's part of the story they didn't bother fleshing out.
Yes, but, I agree. That was a bit of an error, especially because
so much.
We didn't know much about her. Like, how well known was she, or what did the town think of her? We never really got into that.
Would somebody please think of the witch? Or the widow.
Yeah.
I'm tarring her already with that witch brush. So Solomon reveals that he took the book to make the deal with the devil, offering Pastor Miller to be possessed to kill the others in exchange for power and wealth. He offers to share it with Sarah, but she declines and flees into the tunnels. He catches her, and the two fight, with her hand being severed in the process.
Yeah, that was good.
That was nasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. Like, how it happened was a bit of a surprise, and I was like, God, that's gross. That looks so painful.
Yeah. That said, I was surprised by how easily it came off. Because you'd think, all right, they've got to get through bone and stuff. Surely there'd be like some sort of.
But if they got it at the wrist,
joint, just cut off.
But yeah, I was kind of expecting that was going to happen because you could see that it was next to that same rock. But I was still
whole hand things.
I was still grossed out by it, like it was, yeah. So she flees to the chapel, but is apprehended by the townspeople. At Sarah and Hannah's execution, Sarah convinces the townspeople to spare Hannah's life and swears vengeance on Solomon before she is hung. Later, Sarah's grieving friends properly bury her into the woods. Yeah, that was a bit of a sad ending.
Yeah, it was sad. I thought it was sad. Like, I actually really felt their connection and love and stuff. I thought that was really sad.
The bit that I didn't understand was how did she suddenly become so powerful with magic to be able to summon like a hex on all time?
Maybe you don't have to be that powerful with magic. You just if you say it and you mean it happens.
Yeah, true.
Those spells or anything.
A whole lot
of crystals. I know. So yeah, she's basically about to be hung, and she's saying, "I'm gonna like come after you and your family, and you'll never rest, and this and this and this." So obviously, we're setting up the witch thing, but yeah. So all right, just because you wish it becomes true.
I don't know. I would have preferred if they had somehow, like if the widow had given her some talisman or
Yeah, true.
just some little explanation to how she could, hex this guy for all and his relatives for all time.
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit lazy to just gloss over that.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that, but now you're both saying it. Like, yeah, you're right. That is kind of silly. It's a bit
Well,
of a hole.
especially because it's a pivotal point for the whole trilogy. That's
Yeah.
setting out why she's chasing after him, why the killers keep coming out. And that's
Oh yeah, I accepted all that, but the whole that she didn't necessarily have the ability to do that, I didn't really think of that. But yeah, you're correct. That
maybe
is
she was a witch all along. Lesbians are witches. We're right.
So now we're back to the bit that I had prefaced at the beginning of the show. It's Flashcard 1994 Part 2. What did you think of that? Like, I thought that was interesting how they've already have all these different parts. Like, we're up to part 3 of the movie trilogy, but now we're up to part 2
Part 1
of the first film. It was like,
I didn't really care for it, and to be honest, I was like, ugh. Back in the 90s, I didn't even like that movie.
Well, that said, you hated the idea.
I know.
One. And then as you're getting into it, it's like, oh, now we're leaving here.
Right. Yep, I am aware of my walking contradiction, but that's how I felt.
I kind of thought the movie would be bookended, and I thought that they would come back to that at the very end, but it came back to it a lot earlier than I was expecting.
Yeah, I don't know if it needed that title card to spell things out though. But
again, it's a little bit insulting for the audience then if they're dumbing everything down like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Where are we? Well, we're back in the mall. They didn't have malls back in 1666.
I need to reread my history books. I'm pretty sure this isn't accurate.
Why are they not calling her Sarah anymore?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, they did the same actors all the way through.
Oh, and she grew her hand back. Oh, random.
So back in 1994, Dina's vision ends and she realizes that the good family is responsible for the Shady Side curse. The good aren't actually good, they're evil.
Oh, that's very clever of them, isn't it?
It is. Play on words.
The good people are actually bad.
What a topsy-turvy world it is. So as the firstborn of each generation repeat the ritual started by their ancestor Solomon, she and Josh are found by Sheriff Nick Good, the latest in the line, and the two manage to escape in Nick's car and arrive at Ziggy's house. Did you think it was wise for them to escape in the police car, like the whole way to Ziggy's house and with the police lights flashing?
Not really. Just for dramatic effect.
I thought that was interesting. I'm like, really? Can't you turn the bloody lights off?
Yeah.
But it's not a police car unless the lights are going.
Well, that's it. Like, you don't want it to be a police car.
Well, they're in a hurry.
They could have turned all the lights off. Then it would be a ghost car, like on The Simpsons. So the trio deduce they must kill Nick in order to stop the Shady Side curse. After they recruit the help of Martin, a mall janitor, the group come up with a plan to lure Nick to the mall and set traps to have the Shady Side murderers kill him. What do you think of this plan?
Yeah, well, for a start, that Martin guy, I thought that was interesting. It's like just some little throwaway character from the first movie. I knew it was going to be something significant, but I'd completely forgotten about him. It was like, hang on, we're going to need him for our plan.
And I spent ages going, who is that guy again? What was he? Don't make me watch the whole first freaking movie again to find out who this guy is. But
that was the card. Business card. But at the same time, how do they know that if they kill him, then it all goes away? How do they know? That's just a bit of an assumption you're running with.
I know.
Makes sense. Murder is the solution.
It would have been better if they'd seen it in the book. If the book had explained it a bit more, like that, this is the
way to stop the
the whole premise that if this person's killed, then they would have just set it up nice, more neatly.
Yeah. Instead, they just, I know, I've got an idea. This will work. Let's do it. Let's murder.
Yeah. I kind of had a problem with them, like, setting out to murder him without too much basis in anything.
I mean, this is a real person. These aren't like, returned murderer things that are walking the earth but aren't really real. This is an actual cop.
There was never any question about it.
He hadn't done anything to them at that stage, and he'd actually helped Ziggy, like, saved her life in the second movie.
I like how he had that sad moment of flashing onto them having a kiss and then was like, okay.
Everyone loves a bit of murder.
Right.
So the group managed to temporarily trap the killer, and Ziggy lures Nick to the center of the mall, where she pours a bucket of Dina's blood all over him, causing the killers to attack him. However, Nick manages to escape into the tunnels. I thought it was a good idea, like, because they'd set up in the first movie about the blood, like putting the blood in the water pistols.
Oh, yeah. And then they talked about the bucket in the second one, the Carrie reference.
Yeah. So I thought that was good.
I did get a little bit lost, though. Why were they after Dina's blood again?
Because all the blobby killers from the past, they're after
Seraphia.
For some reason.
Yeah. That's what I couldn't remember. I was halfway through going, I can't remember why we're doing this now.
Isn't it because she's being possessed by Seraphia and they want to kill Seraphia?
Or is it because... No, but in the first movie, weren't they going after Sam because she touched the bone or the blood or something?
Because she got possessed by Seraphia.
She wasn't possessed, though, was she? Sam in the first.
No, I thought she just disturbed them. And they were like, Seraphia is making them do this to get revenge. And then they decided, no, she's actually the goodie. So then I'm like, well, I don't understand now.
But I thought Sam didn't. She got possessed because remember how she had the vision as well?
Yeah.
I thought like she probably had the same vision. It's just that hers was like really quick, so we didn't see the whole thing.
So she was possessed by Sarah, and Dina was also possessed. Dina wasn't possessed; she just had a vision.
No, but mate, I think they both. Didn't they both? I don't know.
I got totally lost in the whole lore of it, and I was like, I don't understand the rules anymore. I'll just go with it, but I don't. I've forgotten why everyone's going after who's going after who.
Yeah,
it was a little convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
So Dina and a possessed Sam follow Good down the tunnels to fight off the killers. Sam attacks Dina, but she's able to break through Sam's possession temporarily before knocking her out. Nick pins Dina down and nearly kills her, but Dina is able to expose Nick to a pile of beating organs, which gives him a vision of his killer's victims. More visions. More of the beating organ as well.
Oh, you've been the big blobby thing underground?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I guess we get to see a little bit more about how that happened. Because as he was earlier in the movie, wasn't he doing some worshipping, and then that all like pulsates up out of the ground, and that's what we see the other coming out of.
Yeah.
But again, why? Again, I think with the movie, they just tried to cram too many different ideas and horror movie cliches into one story. Like, is it a blob? Are they monsters coming up out of the darkness? Or is it a possession movie? Is it a slasher movie? It's all of the above.
Yeah, it's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Just pick a story that I don't have to sit there and go, hang on, but so-and-so was, but then, I don't want to do that.
No.
I just want to.
You're not even remembering from the one movie, you're remembering from 2 movies ago.
Right? I mean, they might have explained stuff back in the 90s, but everything's changed since then anyway, because we've had this multitude of different things happen that are supposed to shed new light on what we thought was the truth. But I'm like, well, now I'm just confused.
Yeah. Well, they did go into a little bit more detail. So some of the things we saw in the 90s and even in the 70s one, you're just sort of going with what is that blobby thing? Okay, we'll just accept that. Whereas we now saw kind of the origin of it.
As far as origin, still didn't explain it.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the origin of it. And again, we get to know why the killers are coming back and why they're going after people and that sort of stuff. So they did build on the mythology there. But
I didn't get that. I still don't understand why they're going after people.
I didn't get the blob thing, the flies.
yeah, there were a lot of flies.
Yes. What the hell?
Or is the flies just meant to be because, you know, when the old town got like a blight, there was just suddenly lots of flies everywhere, and is that just what they used to do in the old days? We got flies and mold, we got to move towns now. I did.
That's not.
This house has got flies and mold. I need a new house.
I know, like, when she saw all that food on the table and it was all spoiled and stuff, I was like, wouldn't they have been putting why are they eating stuff and just leaving it all randomly on the table? I mean, back then people didn't have a lot of food.
But they didn't have fridges either.
No, but they had store places. They wouldn't have just left it all exposed on a table.
Were you there, Sue?
Yes, in a past life.
She's Sarah Fierce.
Quick! Chop her head off.
No, but I'm a goodie now, aren't I? I don't know. I'm confused.
Am I good? Am I bad?
I don't know.
Misunderstood. The misunderstood lesbian witch.
Yeah. I'll wear that.
So on the home stretch, so Dina kills Nick, causing the killer to disappear, or the killers to disappear, and the curse to be broken. Later, the good family is exposed for their actions. So, what did you think of the way that Nick was killed?
I don't remember.
In the eye.
Because I don't remember.
Oh, nice.
So remember how she like stabbed him in the eye? He first like had stabbed her, but she actually had a body armor of books.
Oh.
Right. Yeah.
And then she got him in the eye. Yeah. Very memorable for the final.
Wasn't that memorable? I was just disappointed because like all the killers, all the blobby killers that came up like from the past, like the Jason one and Ruby and the others, they all seem to have like little interesting backstories. I would like to know a little bit more about each of those rather than cram them all into one movie.
Yeah. And that's what I thought the whole thing was going to be, was like each one we get a different killer or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get this like convoluted...
bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, in the 70s one, we got the kind of the origin of the Tommy killer.
Yes, but I want to know about the little kid in the mask and like
there
that one was
quite a few. It's like I want to know more about you and you and you and you, and said they just turn up and get wasted.
Yeah,
it's kind of less scary. I don't know when I'm not really sure. Well, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So finally, Martin finds a career selling technology. Ziggy reunites with Mrs. Lane, the nurse from the camp. Dina and Sam have a picnic at Sarah Fierce's grave. And everything is nice and happy, and the film ends. However, in the mid-credit scene, someone's hand is seen taking the widow's satanic book. So does this mean we're going to get sequels?
I hope not. I think 3's enough.
Yeah.
More than enough.
Because it's going to be the same story. Like if it was like Nathan said, like a branch out and tell a story about one of the other killers, like the young girl in it or whatever, that might be interesting. But it looks like it's just going to continue this really convoluted story.
Cycle.
Which means it's going to be like Saw. You know how the more it went on, the more complicated and silly the story became? Like, I just think they're going to do that. And it's already pretty complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think because if they're all set, you know, at least 1994 backwards, now they can do the ones set in modern times, which I think would be even more boring.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, at the same time, hasn't the curse been broken now? Now that the good family is dead,
the book, someone's going to start a whole new curse.
Oh, I guess.
Well, the book's quite big. Maybe there's other curses in there. It's like it's a different curse.
Freak, probably.
But hopefully, yeah, they've broken the curse, not just of the good family, but was it Shadyside, the town with the bad luck? Hopefully that's all broken, because we saw at the end some random neighbor was hit by a truck. So does that mean now bad things happen in, is it Sunnydale, Sunnyvale, Hellmouth, or what?
I thought that was Good's brother.
I thought it was the brother.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
By truck.
Okay, I thought it was a random person.
It was
meant nothing to me.
Yeah, I thought it was the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't done very well. Like, it wasn't very clear that that's what happened. Like, I kind of thought the whole, family curse and all that sort of thing, like how this whole generational thing, it did make me think of Ready or Not, like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many ideas that you're like, I can see where you got that from, and why not expand on that and make it more interesting? But it's just like they just throw away all these ideas. It's just so wasteful and annoying.
Well, it wasn't so much they just threw away ideas; they had too many ideas, and the ones that
they had to throw them away because they didn't have time to explore them properly.
Yeah,
otherwise, it'd be 4 hours.
Yeah,
and 2 hours was pretty long, I feel.
Yeah, definitely was.
Although
I did enjoy the mall, getting back to the mall and the whole glow bit in the 90s vibe. I did enjoy that at the end, but at the same time, I was watching it thinking, I'd much rather watch another season of Stranger Things.
Yes.
It just made me want that.
I mean, to be honest, the only part of the whole series that I've enjoyed was weirdly the 1666 stuff. That was the only time I actually quite liked it. And I really didn't expect to at all, because that's not my thing. But I felt like it was a self-contained story. They didn't put in a whole heap of shit to complicate it. I accepted all the actors. I thought the acting was good. I thought they did that quite well. They should have done more with that.
I thought that the thing with the 1666 was that peril was real. Like, it was some, vigilantes that were after our heroes, and there was actual peril there. Like, there was something at stake, and that was the first time I felt that in these movies. Like, the other times it was like, the killers are coming after someone who's possessed or someone in particular. Like, it just didn't feel like it was that scary. Or yeah,
I get that. The difference being is back in the 1666 bit, the scary bits, that's because there were real people coming after them. So real people making bad decisions and evil decisions and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But didn't have the whole supernatural element so much. So it was a lot more relatable.
I liked all the, things just turning bad, like milk going sour and food going rotting. And I liked all that aspect. And I really felt the relationship between the two ladies. Like, I felt it a lot more than I have in the other films.
Yeah.
When she was dying and they were sort of knowing they had to say goodbye, like, that was sad. I actually felt that. That was good.
Yeah.
And then when we got to the 90s, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Superficially.
It's you again.
Right? Like, oh, we're going to get back to this story, because I liked it. I thought they did a good job with that. I thought that was a strength.
Which is weird, because this is the one that you were looking forward to the least.
Mm-hmm.
So you got surprised?
Yeah, I did get surprised.
Maybe that's what it was. Like, maybe because I was really looking forward to the first two, because I love the 90s horror and I love the 70s, early 80s horror. So they're the two that I wanted to see. So maybe it was that expectation was playing against the other two.
And maybe because we're not big fans of Gothic horror necessarily. Like, maybe if you were, you would see loads of errors in it and hate it as well. But we're not happy with the 70s and 90s ones. But, I mean, I only have my opinion, and I thought it was done well.
Well, I think with the 70s and 90s, though, the problem with those is there was already sort of mythology there and a lot of strange things happening that they didn't explain until the third movie.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit hard to get into those. It's like we don't really know why these things are happening.
Yeah.
They didn't, I suppose. I don't know. I didn't feel like they needed the overreaching storyline, to be perfectly honest. think it would have been better if they'd just done 3 separate stories.
Yeah.
Like a 90s story,
Like an anthology.
story. Yeah, rather than try to connect them this way. Because witches, that wasn't really a big thing in the 70s, really.
What?
That style of horror, like a witch horror,
No.
it wasn't a subgenre they did in the 70s.
Not the late. Like there was some.
There was some 60s stuff like Wicker Man and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Not really the true 70s stuff that we think of when we think of 70s horror. It was not witchy stuff.
Yeah, but that wasn't really the core of the 70s one. The 70s one was meant to be just like a slasher movie. And it just happened to be the witch story behind it created that slasher.
Well, that's why I would have preferred if they just took all that witch stuff straight out of it and just did a straight 70s slasher movie like oh God, what's the one I'm trying to think of? The one that's really horrifying. And on the ad it says, pretend it's a dream. And we saw it together, Matt, and it was really upsetting. Oh my God. Why can't I remember? Where's Craven? Oh my Lord, I can't remember. That's terrible. It will come to me. They remade it. Fuck, I can't remember it. They had the 2 girls and they were kidnapped by that gang of guys. And then after they killed the 2 girls, they went to the parents' house.
Oh, did we see it in the movies?
Yeah, we saw it at ACMI. It was like a special.
Oh, like Last House on the Left.
Yeah, Last House on the Left. Yeah, that style. I
forgot that we saw that at the movies.
Yeah.
Not when it first came out. This was
recently. Not that old.
Yeah, sorry about taking so long to think of that. But yeah. Well, I didn't think of it at all. But yeah, that movie, if they'd stuck to that kind of style, that to me is very 70s, that gritty kind of Chainsaw Massacre stuff.
Well, they could have gone like Exorcist sort of. That was 80s though, wasn't it? Early 80s, but
no, it was 73.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
That like okay, early. Wow.
Yeah. But I feel like it was a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah. When was The Omen?
It was like no.
In late 70s, was it?
That was much later. I don't know. I know The Exorcist because it's the year I was born. So so that kind of helps. But yeah, I don't know when The Omen was.
Mm.
But I thought that Omen was like early 80s, late 70s. I thought it was quite
So they could have gone that
76.
route, like a bit more demonic.
That would have worked okay as well. I agree.
Again, just overall, they should have gone deeper and darker.
Mm-hmm.
So should we go into our final thoughts?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Nathan.
Fine. Okay, final thoughts. Overall, I think I've already said it. They should just, it stretched out too much. It was a little bit too convoluted. I think I would have liked less ideas, more fleshed out. Overall, we're talking about the movie or the trilogy? The movie, overall, look, I did enjoy the 1666 parts better than I expected, and I would have been happier if the whole movie had basically just been that. But tying with the trilogy, I just think cheapens it. But yeah, overall, I'm not going to watch it again. It's a trash. It just made me want to watch something else. Not watch this again.
Well, overall, I thought it was a bit overlong, first off. Like when it started and it said like over 2 hours, I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like not many horrors I feel can justify that kind of length. I thought they embraced the Gothic conventions of this particular horror style a lot better than they had the conventions of the other eras. And I thought it was a bit more of a mature effort than the other two, to be honest. But yeah, when the 1666 stuff ended and we went back into the 90s, I was like, so yeah. I mean, I would have probably given a pass if we'd stayed in 1666 because I was actually kind of digging it, weirdly. I don't know why I did, but I did. But when you add in the 90s stuff and the whole trying to combine and mix all these genres together, it's going to have to be a trash.
So yeah, I think you've covered most of what I was thinking as well. That I thought the same. Like, oh my god, this film's so long. But I kind of think of it as two movies. I guess that's how they've pitched it, and I did really enjoy the 1666 bit. Maybe not really enjoy, but I did enjoy it like more than the other ones. And I thought that the part 2 of 1994 was wasn't the best. I thought it was inferior to the 1666 part, but I thought that it was needed to wrap up the trilogy. So I think I didn't seem to hate it as much as what you guys did. So I think overall, it's sort of borderline between a pash and a trash. Like if I had to watch this again, then I don't think I would be that averse to it. Whereas the other two, I definitely would not want to watch again. So I think for that, I would say probably a pash for this one.
To be honest, it was a close one for me. In fact, I was gonna say pash up until now when we're talking about it, and then going, oh, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah, well, for me, look, I think it was watchable, but I don't think I'd watch it again. There's way too many other things in my watch list or other movies I've seen that I would want to rewatch before I watch this again.
Yeah,
true, but that's right. If I was forced to rewatch one of them, it would definitely be this one.
Yeah.
The other would be like, oh god, no. But this, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, viewers, if you've watched Fear Street Part 3, 1666, let us know in the comments below what you thought. So, should we talk about the trilogy as a whole, whether we'd give that a pash or a trash? If I count from down to 3, should we say what we think at the same time?
Sure.
Okay.
I wonder what it will be.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
So 3, 2, 1, trash. Yeah, I think if I feel like they are going to do another season next year. It seems like they've set it up. I definitely won't watch any more of these movies.
Telling us now you're not going to review them next year. Don't even ask.
Don't even ask.
If we had like very, very strong viewer support to watch it again, then I would consider it, because I'm a bit of I'll watch most things, to be perfect. And you know that I watch nearly everything. So if I'm going to watch it at home anyway, I might as well talk about it with my best friends. But that's the only reason.
I know what you mean. Like, I would probably watch it again if people recommended it, said that season 2 is much better.
Yeah,
I think it would be a chore. There's so many more other things I'd want to watch.
So watching for a reason rather than just wanting to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Especially if they stick with this, storyline, and just we're still sticking with the witch thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no more witches.
There's so many movies on my wish list or watch list that I want to watch. It's like, I don't really have time for this. I can watch something better.
Yeah. Totally agree. So it's good that we're on the same page. We're not always on the same page of things, but when it comes to Fear Street, it seems like we're all pretty in agreement, which is good.
Doing the first one, because we don't talk about it until we're on air, so I was unsure if I was going to be the only one going, "This really sucked." Really, you guys liked it? Okay. Because I'd read quite a few things online of people really digging it. So
yeah, I don't know how.
Well, again, my thoughts on that, and maybe it's people who are coming from a different perspective. Maybe they don't have the same film knowledge and background that we do. So if you haven't seen a whole bunch of other good movies and you're just watching this, you're probably going to think it's pretty good. But if you've seen a lot of other movies, you're going to think, well, in perspective, it's not that great.
And you're going to watch it and go, oh, that was stolen from that movie and that movie, and oh, okay, that's a direct link from that
original.
Yeah. Well, let us know, guys, what you think in the comments below of the Fear Street trilogy. Do you think we're crazy? Are we missing something? Do you understand what happened at the end? Like, who was, the bad person? Who was good? Who was
Why are
bad?
we chasing them?
Please enlighten us. So that brings to a conclusion Fear Street for us. And next, we're moving into a new trilogy of films to review. So we're looking at the Outer Limits and
Yes, we
space
are.
and aliens. So next fortnight, on the 26th of August, join us as we review the original Alien. So the Ridley Scott
Yeah, I'm excited to
classic
watch
from
it.
1979. I don't know how many times I've watched it, like so many times,
Matt,
but I'm looking
isn't
forward
there
to
like
watching it
quite a few
again.
movies in the Alien? No, it's not an Alien trilogy anymore, but then there's Alien spin-offs. So what are the other two we're doing?
No, so we've decided that the other ones aren't horrors. So we're at this stage only doing one Alien movie. We're then doing on the 9th of September Extraterrestrial, which is a
Okay.
2014 film.
I haven't.
And
Hollywood.
then on the 23rd of September, we're watching the 1982 classic Extro,
Yeah. No, me neither.
which I've never seen
I
before. I
Yes,
remember the
right?
cover
And I
at the
remember my
video
sister
store.
telling me that it gave her nightmares. I remember her having a nightmare and me saying, what was it about? And her saying, it's about Extra. And I asked her what happened and she goes, you don't want to know.
And that made you want to see it even more.
Right? So I can't wait to finally know.
Yes, after all these years. So all of the movies that we're going to be reviewing for the next, or until the end of the year, have been scheduled, and they're on our YouTube page. You can also find them listed on our Facebook page. So go along and you can set a reminder and be reminded of when we're going to be going live. So we'd love to have you join us in the chat. So we do go live, like I said, every second Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Australian time. So we do tonight. We had a few technical issues. My camera has gone weirdly pixelated. I think it's something to do with my laptop, but it's a nice effect.
Meant to do that.
I think with each live show, we're getting better and better, so that's good. So please click subscribe and click that bell icon to be notified when we are going live or we've uploaded a new video. You can also find us on Facebook. Just look up Horror Movie Freaks, or on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Horror Movie. So until next time, thank you so much, Nathan and Sue, for coming along for the ride on this Fear Street tragedy. So until next time, play in the shadows and stay safe. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.